Hi, Rachel.
Hello. Hello, how are you?
I'm good, Rachel. How are you doing?
I'm good. Very good. I'm just gonna mute everyone just so that way the background noise doesn't you know, doesn't create a mess.
Sure.
So I'm gonna give it just another few minutes before I get started. So I always like to have a piece of paper and a pen or pencil out in case I want to jot down any notes. So if you want one, go for it. Grab one. If not, that's fine too. Super excited about today's class topic. Something really dear to my heart as something I've been working on for a long time in my own personal life, and really what got me into doing all this work. I know there were several others that had mentioned they were going to be jumping on, and several that asked me to just send them the replay. I am going to actually share my screen with you guys. So hopefully this is going to work. Awesome. Yay. Love it when things, oh, we're at the end instead of the beginning. I have to go back a little bit. Okay, there we go. Okay, so welcome. Happy Friday, everyone. I hope you are having had a great week and you have some fun weekend plans ahead. I'm actually super excited because this is the first weekend in about, I don't know, 2 months maybe, that we don't have a softball tournament. And as much as I love going and watching my daughter, super excited to have a weekend to unwind and relax a little bit, maybe even go to the pool. I hope you have something fun planned for your weekend too. So we're going to get started. Today's class is how to love your body in 3 simple steps, no matter what size you are, no matter what shape you are, color of your skin, your hair, all of that garbage, right? We're going to learn to love our bodies no matter what. So, question for you. Would you feel like shit if someone said one of these comments to you, or it was being in reference to you? I can't believe you would post a picture of yourself. You should be embarrassed. You'll probably never lose the weight. Just accept that you are meant to be fat. How do you even look at yourself in the mirror and not cry? These are comments, real life comments that people say, right? People often say things that can be interpreted as rude and downright mean. The real work, though, is can you hear a comment like this and not let it bother you? Can you still feel proud and happy and amazing in your own body? And that's this work, that even if these things were said to you, that you can still hold your 2 feet on the ground, stand tall, and feel okay, better than okay with yourself. So welcome. I'm Rachel Friedman. I am a life and health coach. I am the founder of Rachel Beth Coaching and the group on Facebook, Unfuck Yourself, as well as a podcast, Moms Kicking Ass. I am a mom myself. I have 5 kids, 2 of my own and 3 step kids. Married my best friend almost 2 years ago, and we combined families. He has triplets that are 16 years old, and I have a 16-year-old, and then I have a daughter that's 13. So yes, we have 5 kids together, all between the ages of 13 and 16, which makes for a pretty fun and quite chaotic home often. So how did I get into all this work? About, now 20 years ago, I weighed 25 years ago about 65 pounds more than I do today. So quite a bit of weight that I have learned to take off and keep off for over the last, I would say, decade. And what really got me into this work is I realized that when I weighed a lot more than I do now, I really hated my body. I was quite miserable and very unhappy. And I thought if I just lost the weight, that would be the answer to my happiness. Truth be told, I lost a lot of weight and I was still unhappy. And I still did not like my body. And I still found lots of reasons to be really cruel and mean to it. And it's when I really found this work, right? This work of learning to really love your body, to rewire your brain. And that's when my life really started to shift and change. That's when I was able to align myself with a spouse that is absolutely amazing and fulfills me. It's when I was able to release all the anxiety that had become quite overwhelming at times. And it is become my life's work to teach other people these tools that have shifted me from a person who could never stand in front of a room and talk to people to being able to talk in front of hundreds and thousands of people quite often. And it's the power of learning to change your mind. It's not just about, learning, yes, to love your body and embrace it for what it is, but it's really the reprogramming of the brain, and it's learning to fully embody just this amazing life we have here on earth. So let's dive in. So I've broken it down to 3 simple steps that we're going to cover today that are going to get you started. And I think if you follow these 3 simple steps, you'll be on a good route to learning to love your body. And step 1 is you're going to have to detox your visual diet. In just a moment, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about what that is. Step 2, we're going to examine your beliefs about what is beautiful. So we're going to clean out the filter from which you are looking through. And then the 3rd step is you've got to deprogram and reprogram your brain. Step 1, detox your visual diet. So right now, if you were to pull up your phone and start to scroll through Instagram or Facebook, what do you see? Is it filled with beautiful, thin models, or is it filled with normal, real people, bodies like yours? This is super important because what is in our visual field is what we start to identify with. And what happens is if your visual field is only filled with things that are not at all like you, right? Then it starts to make you judge, compare yourself to these other people. And when we do this, we usually fall into a routine, habit of feeling really crappy about ourselves. So that's what the brain does. I call it compare and despair. So you want to take a moment and pause, and you want to go through your Instagram, through your Facebook account. And you can obviously do this after the class if you're watching it live. And you want to you want to unfriend, defollow anything that is really not serving you. So anything that is making you think that you are less than, right? That you are not as valuable, not as important, not good enough. And you want to get that out of your visual field because we want to clean that space. We want you to have a very neutral space. And then what you want to do from there is you want to then add in new people to follow, new things to follow that actually are going to fuel you. So there are tons of body positive accounts I know on Instagram, and I can even send that to you if you want to follow. And you want to start to fill your visual field with these body positive accounts. You can also think about this in terms of what you read. Like if you read magazines, right? Like what are magazines filled with? Most often they're going to be filled with these beautiful thin models and these ideal images of what is, quote, beautiful. And we're going to talk about that in the next step a little bit. But if that's something that you're still filling your time with, you might want to reconsider what you're looking at. And also in regards to television, right? Like, what do you watch on TV? Are the people in the shows you watch have a more average or fuller body? Or are they super thin and model shape bodies? And you really want to start to fill your visual field with what are more similar to like what you look like, right? Like, you know, if you have really curly hair and you're like, I hate my hair, then maybe you start to follow some people that have really beautiful curly hair, so you can start to see, like, right, that there are others like you. And it actually reaffirms and validates the brain for you. So that's step one. You're going to detox your visual diet. It's a pretty simple step, right? Step two, we want to redesign your filter. So the filter you're looking through. So let's think about it this way. If you were to have not cleaned your windows of your house for, let's just say, several months, dust, right, and dirt would collect on those windows. And if you looked out those windows every day, you might look out and see the grass. And over time, the grass might look a little bit brown. And here's the thing. What you see is you're seeing brown grass because of the window, the filter you're looking through. Now, if one day you were to start to take some glass cleaner, clean those windows, and all of a sudden that brown grass might very well become green. This is what we want to do with our brains. So we want to redesign the filter you're looking through your own brain of what is beautiful. And how do you do this? I think it starts by allowing your brain go to work about how do you define beauty? And for most of us, we've been raised on these beliefs that beauty is a certain shape, right? Like, our culture has taught us that to be beautiful is to be thin, and to be beautiful is to be fair skinned, and to be beautiful is to have light eyes, and to be beautiful maybe is to have straight hair. And society has actually taught us this. It's reaffirmed it year after year after year. And so many of us have just taken it on as our own belief. But I question you, I ask you to question yourself, what really is beautiful? Like, who gets to decide what beautiful is? And really the only person that gets to decide it is you. And one of the ways you can start to change your idea of what beauty is, as you look at different bodies, as you look at different people, you can look at every single body as beautiful, no matter what the shape is, no matter how much they weigh, no matter the color of their hair, the color of their skin, how big or small, right, their nose is. These are all things that make up our bodies. And as you start to open your eyes and look around, I encourage you to look for beauty in everything and everyone. The more we can see beauty in others, the more we will be able to filter for beauty from within. It's really an important step, and it's one that I think often gets passed by. So I'm going to encourage you to start to open your eyes. I'm sure they're already open, but to look through a new filter. Imagine right now you just sprayed some glass cleaner over your eyes, and all of a sudden, everywhere you look, everything is green, right? Everything is beautiful. And just notice when your brain goes right into judgment and it wants to question it. Where did that come from? Where did that belief come from that that's not beautiful? And can you question it? Can you get curious? Can you lean in and ask yourself, if you want to redefine what is beautiful, I highly suggest you do. All right, so these are the first two steps. I would say they're probably the simplest. And then I want to take you into step three. So step three is to deprogram and reprogram your brain. This is where the work becomes, I don't want to say hard. It's not hard. It's actually simple, but it's going to take a lot of repetition and a fair amount of effort and work. So in order to deprogram your brain, the first thing you have to do is learn how to get still and get quiet and hear the sentences that are going on in your own mind. So we have, they say, anywhere between 60 and 90,000 thoughts a day. A lot of those thoughts are actually just recycled thoughts. They're just going over and over and over. So we want to get really clear. We want to get an understanding what's going on in your brain, right? What are you saying to yourself? Now, once we know what you're saying to yourself, the job is not to get rid of those thoughts. I know so often that's what we think. Yes, over time, we want them to get quieter. But the first part of this process is just awareness. So I want you to ask yourself right now, when I say, what do you think about your body? When you look in the mirror, what do you say to yourself? You want to answer that. Do you look in the mirror and say, damn, I'm looking good? Do you look in the mirror and start to pick on yourself? This morning, I was teaching a class, and one of my students all of a sudden started pulling at that space between like her shirt, her tank top, and her arm, right? That like skin, that fleshy part. And she started pulling out, and she's like, oh my God, where did that come from? It's so gross, right? And these are like the little things that we do and we don't realize can have really a big impact on how well we take care of ourselves. And it can actually create really feelings of feeling defeated. And when we're in that space of feeling defeated, we're very unlikely to take the actions we need in order to create the results we want, which is, right, like ultimately like this place of joy and happiness, right? So I want you to really ask yourself right now, what do I say to myself about myself? And like, is that thought serving me? Just have that awareness. Hold that thought in your mind and validate it to yourself. Be like, yeah, I really do believe that about myself. And then ask yourself, if not just do you believe it, do you think it's actually a fact? And here's how you know if it's a fact or not. Would everyone on this planet agree with you? If there's even one person that you think might disagree, it's not a fact. And if it's not a fact, it's just a thought. It's just a belief that you have. Right? And the good news about that is we can reprogram any belief if you're willing to do the work. So then step 3, part A of step 3 is to deprogram the brain. And in order to deprogram the brain, we need awareness. So, right, so you're going to be aware of what are the sentences in your mind. And I highly recommend that you write them down. So often we don't want to write them down because we don't want to see it. We don't want to believe that it actually could be true. Or it makes it like almost really real when we write it down. But I want it to be real. I want it to really sting, right? I want it to hit home, because that is the only way that we are, that I've learned or seen, that we're really inspired to take action to making a change, right? And the fact that you signed up and you came to this class, I know that there's at least a piece of you that's interested. Okay, so we have this list of all these sentences in our mind, right, that we have that are going on, probably anywhere between, I don't know, most of us have 5 and 500. Just kidding. But there are definitely a few, a handful there, right? Now, the second part of this is you have to learn how to reprogram your brain. So we know what is on default, but how are we going to change what's on default to be a new default? Now, the key is not to just take that thought, right? Like, my body's gross. I hear that all the time from people, right? And say, oh, my body is beautiful. Because if I were to tell you, oh, I want you to just go home and repeat that over and over, likely you don't believe it. And your brain is going to be like, whatever, fuck this, and just go back to believing what it believes. So there is a process, right, that you can take your brain through. And I call it stair-stepping your thought. You want to meet your thought where it's at, right? And then we're going to stair-step it very slowly, like one step at a time, till you get to that goal thought of my body is beautiful. But if you try to rush the process and you skip a step, you will likely fall back to the bottom. It's kind of like, I like to think about it like a baby or a toddler when they're learning to walk, right? First, they push themselves up to all fours. And once they're on all fours, they start to rock a little bit front to back, right? And then once they're rocking front to back, then they maybe grab something, right? And they start to stand up. And they're very wobbly. right? So then they fall down, and every time they fall down, they pick themselves back up, and those leg muscles get stronger, their core muscles get stronger, right? And eventually one day they take a step, and again that happens, they fall down again, they get back up, but they have a really strong belief that they are going to walk, right? And as a parent, as a mom, right, like I never believe my kid is not going to walk, right? It's not like, every time they fell down, I'm like, oh, that's it, you're never going to walk, right? So there's this process of reprogramming, and it requires meeting your brain where it's at and then taking it one step at a time. This is a lot of the work that I do with my clients in my coaching program, is we step your thoughts, right? Where you are to where you want to be. And of course, you're going to fall down, and then I'm there for you to help pick you back up, right? To give you that little cheer, right? And to call you out, right? When you need to be called out, right? And to get you back in action, okay? But it really starts with these thoughts in your brain. The thoughts in our brain will determine how you feel. How you feel always determines the actions you take. And the actions we take always create our current results. So this process is super powerful. We got to deprogram the brain. We got to become aware, what are the current thoughts? And then start to create new thoughts one at a time. Now, we're not getting rid of the old thoughts in this process. We're going to hold them at the same time. In psychology, we call this cognitive dissonance. You'll have the old thought, you'll have the new thought. Now, what's going to happen is we're going to start to feed these new thoughts. We're going to feed them over and over and over with a lot of repetition. It's going to happen, those old thoughts, because we're not feeding them. What happens when you don't feed something, they're going to slowly start to die off. The new thoughts will come in place and become your new automatic thinking. I want you to close your eyes for just a moment and imagine every time you glance in the mirror, you don't turn away, but you think, damn, I look good. Never feeling embarrassed again or afraid to have sex with the lights on. Come on, ladies, I know. Many of us have been there or are there now. Not spending every waking hour thinking about food or how many calories you just ate. What a relief to not count calories. Imagine all the space that would open up for you in your life, all the energy that would free for you to use towards other things. This is what's possible when you do this work, ladies. It's true freedom. It's mind-blowing. It's confidence that people are in awe of. People tell me all the time, Rachel, you have such amazing confidence. Here's the thing, ladies. I was not born with that. Trust me, if you had known me a decade ago, you almost probably wouldn't even recognize me. That comes with this work. It is amazing. I would say it's not even describable in words. So what you will learn if you do this work, first off, all I want to tell you is if you just even implement these first 3 steps, these are some really big key steps that you are going to be on a path towards success. So remember the 3 steps. Number 1, you've got to do a visual detox. Go through Instagram, go through Facebook if you're on them, go through, look at what you're reading, look at what you're watching on TV, right? Get out all the shit that's not serving you. Step 2 in our process is you've got to refilter your brain, right? So you've got to change the lens at what is beautiful. So you got to start to look at things around you as beautiful. Things that maybe right now society has told you aren't, and you have to question it. You have to start to create your own idea of what's beauty. And then step 3, you have to deprogram and reprogram your brain. If you want to take this work further, some of the things I've pointed out, 9 things that you will receive when you learn, that you will learn in coaching. I cannot talk today. So the first thing is you're going to go from body loathing to body love. Second is how to eat for your body type. So eating for your body type is a form of Eastern medicine called Ayurveda, which I am trained and studied in. I spent all last summer. And it's learning how to eat, not necessarily what, but specific times and certain types of distancing of food timing that is going to really speak with the rhythms of your body. So that's something you're going to get. You're going to get a protocol that's designed just for you. You're going to get a simple process on how to change your thought patterns, right? I'm going to teach you that ladder. And so you don't have to count on me forever to help you come up with those thoughts. You're going to learn how to come up with really strong thoughts and how to really feed them, right? Like there's a specific process that I take you through that really helps just move this process along just a little bit quicker. How to process all your emotions. Oh my God, this is one of the greatest things I learned from my coaches, how to really sit in my feelings. So many of us are avoiding our feelings, right? I know I was one of them, definitely was one of them. And I was using food. And that's really how I got into a lot of this work. I was using food to not have to feel the discomfort, not to have to feel the shame and the guilt and all the other things that were coming up for me. So instead, when I felt them, I would just reach for some cookies or some sweets. And so one of the things that I'm going to teach you to do is how to process all your emotions, how to sit in the discomfort, right? How to hold space for that and how to process it all the way through. So you don't have to use things like food or alcohol, overworking any longer. Resilience. You're going to become super resilient. You're going to learn how to live in harmony with your body. You're going to learn specific mental blocks, your specific mental blocks that are keeping you from loving your body. This is key. And where really did they come from? I'm going to teach you a whole process of how to rewire them, right? How to rewrite your story, how to heal your relationship with your body for good, and how to take care of yourself in a way that feels really good. This is super important. I really think this is the key to feeling and finding that 50% happiness in our life. I want to tell you that I really don't believe that life is meant to be 100% happy all the time. I really believe our lives are designed for 50-50. And this is the true art of living, is that when we learn to embrace that 50%, that just sucks, that's just awful, and we're able to tolerate and handle and manage it, right? And we're not reaching for this unrealistic goal that life is going to always be happy. I just think that's just bullshit. I think that's something we've been brought up to believe is possible. And whether it is or isn't doesn't matter, but I think the true art of living, the true magical life is when you're able and willing to experience all of it, all of the beauty, all of the joy, all of the pleasure, and then the sadness and the grief and anger, because that's a full life. And that's my hope for everyone, that we can all get to this place where we can really embrace it all. So love your body, guys, and you will love your life, I promise. What's included in my program? People always ask me this. I'm just going to give it to you ahead of time. It's 24 one-on-one calls. It's unlimited daily tech support. It's a body love workbook. It's Ayurveda workup. It's an eating protocol for your body type. It's designed just for you. It's a breath prescription to follow to help you manage your anxiety and your nerves. It's individualized meditations. It's tools that teach you how to manage your own mind. It's a non-judgmental space where you can come and share whatever you need to share. It's fun. It's powerful. We laugh. We cry. It lights me up every single day to be able to be a part of so many people's amazing journey. So I'm going to invite you today for joining me on this call, for a free call, to see if working together would be a good fit for you. Or even if you don't have any interest in hiring a coach, but you just want to learn more about how to ladder your thoughts or anything I talked about on this call today, I invite you to click on this link right here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this link into the chat box. And then you can just, hopefully that will work. And then you can just click on it there. You can also, of course, just head over to my website, rachelbethcoaching.com at any point. Let me go ahead and put that link in the chat box if anybody would like to take advantage of that free call. It's not letting me. I wonder why it won't let me put it in the chat. Interesting. Weird. Okay, well, I'm going to include it in the follow-up email. I'm going to send a replay of this. So that way you can click on it there if you want. And ladies, I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day and joining me for this class. And I hope you have an absolutely amazing, beautiful rest of your Friday. And if you have any questions, here's the chat box. please feel to just jot them in the chat box right now. And I'll just hang out for a minute and you can jot them in there, and I will hang out for just a moment and try to answer them for you. And if not, then